All right, so give me one moment. Oop. All right, so I have made it successfully through the Torah. Right now, I'm finishing up in Joshua, and I thought I'd come on here and as I'm doing this, basically showing, and of course, I did other things on the side. I had to eat breakfast and everything, but uh, for the most part, I've spent the day since I've gotten up, and I got up at about 7. Today's the only day, Saturday really is the only day that I can sleep in at all. And I say, 7's really not that late of sleeping in my opinion. Uh, some other people might say otherwise, but in my opinion, 7 a.m. is really not that late. To me, it's pretty early because that's usually when I go to work. But and then some people go to work way earlier. Either way, I'm finishing up in Joshua. It's talking about even during a time of war, which is what these people were. In Joshua. This is Joshua 1. They were preparing to take down the villages or cities. And so I'm putting, even during a time of war, this chapter shows the importance of having spiritual strength. And that's what I'm putting. And if y'all will give me just a moment, I'm going to make sure my phone is turned off because I did not, or at least on a little bit silent, more silent. Because I do still need to. So, all right. So, anyways, you're probably wondering how I'm going from Joshua 1 to Judges 10. Well, got my little notebook here. I'm gonna stop screen sharing for just a moment. Anyways, so this is my little pocket journal. I've been doing research also on the sizes of notebooks. They typically do this little alphabet thing. I say alphabet, but it says A, and then it'll have a number next to it. Sometimes A7 is pretty well the smallest. Any smaller than that, and you're not getting a real writing pad. Technically, this is about an A7. Some people say A6, but this is an A7 pocket notebook. But some people also say this is an A7, depending on what company you're working at. Kind of like with sizes of shoes and clothes. Every company is a little different, but this is about the smallest writing notebook you can have. The only size that I have that's a little bit, and this would be A6. It's a little bit bigger, not much bigger, but why is that important? It's not important though. But anyways, in my little notebook now, oh shoot, I marked all that. Okay, so basically I have a checklist that I go over, and essentially, because I marked it out when I was trying to write down this whole list, but I can go to a previous day. In a previous day, I was trying, this is my efforts. You can't really see it too well. These are my efforts of trying to add more to the list. I started off where I was just reading. Mostly that's what I was doing. But now I'm trying to get a little bit farther into it, just a little bit more. I've been a journaler, I'll admit, but I was never just trying to go super in depth. And the reason being is the type of sermons that I typically do, I try to be as simple as possible because of the fact that's what people need. They don't need this big college style sermon. They need just to learn about the message of the cross. Now, I'm saying this like I'm not going to make this into a playlist, and so I don't want to say too much about it because I'm not trying to offend anybody that might see this that goes to church. But why I'm saying that is basically I try to be careful about how much commentary and style that I use. So I try to keep my studies as simple as possible. But then again, a lot of the times when I want, and I'm going to pull it up, when I want a commentary, I will go on the website known as Bible Hub. I'm going to go ahead and screen share it. Let's see. This is just the Genesis 1. And well, I've already studied my Genesis chapter for the day. But I'll come on here. Let me see if I can X out of that. Come on. I don't want an ad. I don't see why it has the X if you can't click it. So I have it on where it's the chapters, and basically this is just the most simple you can get it. See, it has the summary, so it gives me a little summary of it, and usually I'll use this for more of in-depth chapters, the ones that are a little harder to understand. It provides a little bit of archaeological insight and stuff to let you know, here's our evidence that we have that this did happen. And then when you get down, I'm making sure you can see it well on the stream. So that's why I'm switching tabs. You can't tell I'm doing that really. Our practical takeaways for today. One of the questions we're answering. So if I have a little trouble with the passage and just trying to see a takeaway that I can apply to today, I can look at that passage. So anyways, if I'm going to get us we're going to do Judges together, and then I'm going to end this stream because, again, as much as I'd love to do this stream, I really do not have the endurance to talk for 5 or 6 hours, because I could do this in about 6 hours. I guarantee it. If I was doing it on a stream, this would probably help me stay consistent. But I forgot how to do this, and I'm the one who knows how to do this. This is my favorite way when I do sermons and stuff, like when I do online stuff. I did this on my chapel service that I do, and I like screen sharing, letting people see the notes I take. And I'll go ahead and give a little disclaimer. It says I have 280 pages. It was at 238 until I was filling out all these questions and putting them in there and copy and pasting them. So until I fill them out, really I only got about 240 pages worth of notes. And I know that still sounds like a lot. It's not. When you look at the grand scheme of things, it's really, haven't really done that much with it yet. It's just I have a lot of stuff to fill in with notes. And of course, if I do that today, then yes, I will have nearly 300 pages worth of notes on this thing. But this has been like a year, something I work on. This is where all my resources pretty well go to. Pretty recently, if I make big sermon notes, it goes in here. So let's go ahead and get started. Judges chapter 10 is where we'll be today. I'm going to read us the entire chapter before we do the studying. I got my Bible here, setting it on the keyboard very carefully. And after, gotta be careful. Sorry, y'all. All right, hang on. And after Abimelech, those arose to defend Israel, Tola, the son of Puah, the son of Dudo, a man of Issachar, and he dwelt in Shamir in Mount Ephraim, and he judged Israel 23 years and died and was buried in Shamar. And after him arose Jar, a Gileadite, and judged Israel 22 years, and he had 30 sons that rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 cities, which are called Havoth Jair unto this day, which are in the land of Gilead. And Jair died and was buried in Kamon. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and served Balaam and Ashtar, the gods of Syria, the gods of Zidon, and the gods of Moab, and the gods of the children of Ammon, and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord and served not him. And the anger was hot against Israel. So far, and I know I'm stopping, but so far we can see that God's message to me today, already we can see in here, is to stay away from idols. That idol worship, let's see, we're going to type it right here. See? Idol worship angers the Lord. Right there. Promise from God. Now, if we kept reading, we're in verse 10, and the children of Israel cried on... we're on verse 7. I don't know where I got verse 10 from. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the children of Ammon. Now we can see there, they were serving the gods of the Philistines. So, he basically said, all right, you like the Philistines' gods so much, why don't you live in their city? Guess what? Philistines don't like Israel very much. And we will see that a lot. The Philistines were a mighty nation for a while. If I'm correct, they were one of the mighty nations. And then Babylon, I think Philistines, Babylon, and then one after it. And then Roman, the Roman Empire, at least in terms of the Bible, and then all the other nations that came after it. Basically, a promise from God is that if you deny God, He's not gonna help you. God will not help those who choose to go against Him. That's His promise. Oh, y'all. I'm a rambler, y'all. I'll be honest. A command to keep. Number one, stay away from idols. That's the main command. See, just from, oh my gosh, if I could learn how to spell, stay away from idols. Simple. Now, if I may, the intention of the spiritual diary was basically, when you wake up in the morning, and some people, especially my church, my pastor, actually, nobody's going to see this, Terry Wright, brings up, and this was not his idea, by the way. If it was, then I don't, never mind. The proverb a day. One proverb a day. Imagine reading that. And if I did it every day, and I do try to, the big thing is, I could go bring that tub in right now, actually. Once we're done with this, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. For the most part, I do like to keep these notes and a lot of my personal notes away. I like to do both. You're probably wondering, how does that work? Well, sometimes it doesn't, but I like to just basically be able to write this down. Like, earlier, once again, I'm going to get off the group screen share. See, I wrote the Bible Marathon. It was late at night. I had set up basically everything for this and then decided, what am I going to call this? What's the name for this? I said, the Bible Marathon. And so that's what I did. Speaking of which, I do need to go fix something. I need to put in the description what I'm doing today. Attempting to study one chapter in each book of the Bible. Save. Who reads the description? Hardly ever. So basically, I don't need to type that in there. It's and I know that's not a Bible study thing, but let's say, I'm reading a passage and just out of nowhere, God puts on my heart, hey, write this down, and I'm like, okay, doesn't always mean that's just me and God. Now, do I expound upon it? Yeah, potentially. But sometimes it's just needs to be me and God written down. Sometimes, and of course, I'll share what God puts on my heart. But sometimes it's just me and God need to have a conversation. And it's never, oh, hey, by the way, this is the day I'm coming back. It's nothing like that. It's more of a reassurance of a way of basically that God is with me. I would never keep any secrets. As of right now, I am not a prophet. I will tell you that. I do not prophesy. I do not speak in tongues. I have not cast out demons. The only miracle in my life right now is the fact that I was led to Christ and that I am now currently making my best efforts to lead others to Christ. That is my miracle. That is the miracle God has allowed me to do. The best miracle, truly, I believe. Turning water into wine might be fun for a while. Of course, it was never meant to be seen as some party trick. It was meant to be a sign of the blood of Jesus. But to think about it like that, miracles like that, multiplying food and stuff, would only do so good. I could, if I could go into the hospital in the next town over, 15 minutes away, if I could just walk in there, heal everybody, do a lot of good. But how many of those people, if they don't continue to take care of themselves, they'll be right back there a couple of weeks later. There are people that go in there, drug overdose, alcohol abuse. Doesn't matter if I heal them, or if God healed them through me, or however you want to put it. Doesn't do any good if you don't take care of yourself after. If I became cancer free or anything like that, and then proceeded, you know, yeah, like the new liver, the new heart. If I then proceeded to do all kinds of things, didn't regulate my blood pressure or anything like that, I'd be wasting God's healing. That's what you have no idea how many of them may have just immediately gone back. Now, the ones that Jesus typically healed were ones that never walked, never saw, never could hear until he came and did it. But either way, he told them, sin no more. So let's go ahead and end what I've done in Judges. Share once again a timeless principle. And now that's kind of like what would a saying that we can take out of this passage? We can put a quote in from verse 16. And they put away the strange gods and served the Lord. Boom. How does this apply to our lives? Let's say ours. Now I'm going to say mine because it's my little diary, but how does it apply to our lives? Simple. It shows how dangerous the things of this world truly are. And it shows that we must stay away from them. Boom. That easy. All right. So I'm not going to be talking anymore, but I am going to stay on here. I'm trying to rest my voice, but I'm going to stay on here. And I'm just going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to turn off my camera so y'all don't see me. Can y'all still hear me? Yes, they can still hear me. All right. So anyways, I'm going to just turn off my camera, turn off my microphone, and I'm going to let y'all just see my camera and see what I'm working on here for now. the book of Ruth really isn't that long. That didn't take me very long. But anyways, y'all saw what I was writing. That chapter really shows, as I said, or as God said, physical death comes for us all. I should scroll up to it. I'm sorry. Physical death comes for us all, and it shows also. They had no idea that they were going to lose the men they loved so quickly. You know that wasn't on their bingo card or whatever you want to say. They thought, now yes, they knew they were going to die, but Ruth and I forgot her sister's name. Oh, I'm so sorry, and I should know it. I just read the chapter. Starts with an Orpha. I thought of it as I was turning there. I thought of it right as Orpa or Orpha. Orpha wouldn't really work. Orpa would probably be the way to pronounce it. Anyways, now that one of them knew that this was coming, because guess what? They hadn't had children yet. That was the whole thing back then. If I married anybody, if I somehow got transported back there, or if I lived at that time, that'd probably be the better way to put it. If I lived at that time, my job as a man, one, to provide for the family, but also have a family, have many children. Now that or children through one wife. That was the thing. It was supposed to be one wife. God taught that. But by the time now, and it was already, he talked about it in Genesis, but when Exodus happened, he basically made it very clear in a commandment, be of one wife. So that's what this was teaching. So anyways, they didn't get to do what was both religiously, as we would call it, biblical, and also cultural. Because even now, now we're kind of going away from it with how the economy is, but we've been taught that having a family shows, well, and one, if we want to continue to have people in the world, we got to have children. But anyways, they couldn't do what was needed. Now, of course, we don't know what happens to Orpha past this point after this chapter, but I do like to believe that she did get to find her own happiness. But also, I hope the fact that Ruth and them got back together and that she got to learn about how good God is. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream so that I can do, because 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles guaranteed aren't going to have much study notes. So I'm just going to go ahead and do those real quick, and then I might come back on here and do another live stream of the Bible Marathon. Not entirely sure yet. We'll see how that goes. Y'all have a good day once again. Goodbye.